Hello everyone, Gilbert here. Welcome to Red Dragon Models. I have been asked a lot in the last two years about airbrushes, how to maintain them, what's the best one to use, etc., etc., etc. Now, I've uploaded, and you can check them out. There'll be the little cards here. The things on how to make your own airbrush thinner, airbrush cleaner, how to what's the best airbrush to buy, if there is such a thing, things like that there. But I get asked a lot on the maintenance of them. Now, I'll get into all that in a second when I show this here. But, I'm asked a lot. How do you remove the seal from inside of an airbrush? Well, many of you know the seal is right about here, right behind the cup. It's about here. And if that seal is worn, or if it's not seated properly, or if it's not tightened properly, you can't over tighten them, or you won't be able to move the needle in and out. But if for whatever reason, if it's got a bug in it, whatever, you'll end up getting paint back in here. And if you get paint back in here, it can be catastrophic because you can ruin the valve here. Which with this one, the valve is already going, so I have to order a new valve. But I'm asked all the time. Some people will tell me, "Hey, look, I got a real bad booger in there, and I can't get my airbrush won't work." Well, I tell them, when you clean it, do you pull the needle and wipe it? And nope, never thought of that. Well, that will help, because sometimes paint, it doesn't matter how much times you clean it here. If the paint is starting to get back up in here, it'll dry up in here, and there's where you got your problems. So, I have a toolkit here that I purchased, about a few weeks ago. Got it from here. Chicago Airbrush. You guys check them out. ChicagoAirbrush.com. Fairly expensive, but for me, it's something, it's a must-have. So, I'm going to show you what the toolkit is, and I'm also going to show you how you remove either the seal or the valve here without gumming them all up. I'll be back in a second. Okay, here we go. Before I show you what's in here, this is a like a rubber mat that you can take apart your airbrush on. You can get this also here at ChicagoAirbrush.com. It's $20. The cool thing about this is it gives you a diagram right in here of how your airbrush works. For the most part, every airbrush is the same. You have your barrel, your chamber rather, whatever you want to call it. You have your air piston, your air valve. There's your packing needle right here. Your fluid needle, which is here. Coming across, you got the fluid needle. That's what the needles are called. Your nozzle, your needle cap, your nozzle cap, etc., etc., etc. This is not bad because if you're taking apart your airbrush, this is non-skid. Everything will lay here. It doesn't roll around, and it's got this little, lip on it. I was going to take apart my Badger Chrome for this. I think I won't for now, but I want to show you guys this. Now this is a tool set from Iwata, and this is what comes in it. You have your pliers, of course your case, a little pouch right here, an accessory pouch. You have your air valve, and I'll show you all that. You have here. Let me do it this way. All right, this is what comes in it. Right here, you have your valve wrenches. Now this is an extra one that I had that I just put in here. I'm sorry, these are for your needles, your needle wrenches. This is your valve wrench right here, and you have two different sizes. You have Let's see. This would be. I'm trying to think of the number for it. Um, well, they're two different sizes, as you can see. They don't have a. I don't see a what size they actually are, but that's one side. Here's the other. So this is your for your air valve, the wrench, and sits in here. Then you have your right here your screwdrivers, your packing screwdrivers. You got one that's a 1.2 millimeter, and you got one that's a 1.4 millimeter. They give you also a little container here. You can put an extra needle or two in there, and of course you have your pliers here that have some rubber there, so you don't ruin when you're taking them apart. So, all right. Now, and then, okay, here you go. Your valve guide wrench. You got the two ends. You have your needle wrench. You have your packing screw, needle packing screwdrivers, and then you have your pliers. So let's get here. Now we'll take apart this piece right here, the air valve, because I want to look at that piston in there. On mine, that thing keeps sticking. Now, as you can notice, that's too small. This would probably be for the HPC. So this here is for the Revolution, and I believe this will also fit the. Will it fit the? I don't know. It might fit the Eclipse. I think the Eclipse has a bigger valve in it. Anyway, you just take that, you stick that right inside here, and turn it just like that, and out comes that, and it stays in there, and there's your valve. Now, a lot of times, let's see, this should go this way, and then the needle's right there. So there we go. Make sure that that's just right. That sits just like that. That goes in there. All right. So to be actually it goes this way. This goes at the bottom like that. Just like that. A lot of times you get a lot of crud built up right inside there. So what I do is I'll just take it apart like that. As you see, pull the needle, make sure there's nothing on it. Try to keep these two pieces here together. I'll remove the needle chuck guide right here. Make sure that the spring is still good. There's nothing caked up inside there. Pull that, and then I'm able to look right through that. Now, you can clean those. One of these, for your teeth. Just stick it right in there and just get it in there and clean it right out. See, that whole piece will come right out. So you got to be careful with this. So there we go. Now this, I can see right in here, has got a lot of gunk. And it's not too bad, but it's sticking. So I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol in there. Just put a little bit on the brush, just like this. A little bit on the brush. And get it right inside there and clean it out. That'll help that trigger when it's sticking. So you just want to get it in there, make sure all that's cleared out. Just like that there. Let's see. We'll get us also a little pipe cleaner. And just to make sure, run that pipe cleaner in there. Make sure there's nothing in there. Then, always, at least I do it. I hear people that say they, some people do, some people don't, but I always put a little drop of oil in there. Not a lot, just a very little. Get it in there. Use the back of your needle. Make sure it gets inside there. So you can lubricate the inside of that. I also lubricate the spring and the seal. All right. Now, where's it at? I want to make sure there's nothing in there. In here, way inside there, I don't know if you guys can see that. Way in there is your packing needle. And that's where these come in. They have, you see that piece right here? You put your needle, this packing needle, or see, like right here, you can take that's your seal or packing needle, whatever you want to call it. See that piece right there? There's also a seal that sits right up in here, but on different models. But this is the one you're mostly concerned about, is that seal right there. This, you slide it inside there until you feel it connect, and then you just turn it. Just like that. Until it comes out. And let me show you. Just do it just like this. Oh. Not yet. See, I want to make sure that seal, or that comes all the way out. There it is. And there it is. There's your seal right inside there. See it? Well, that little piece right there. That's what your needle slides back and forth like this here. Do that. Just like that. Actually, it goes this way. It's like this. If this is too tight inside the body of your airbrush, you'll feel the needle. This clamps down. It gets tighter and tighter right here as you tighten it, and it'll restrict the movement of your needle. But that's how you remove them, guys. Now, the cool thing about this is, you see how you got this piece here? When you want to put it back in, you just do this. Stick that right there so you don't lose it. Just like that. Take this, put that right through, and it goes all the way. You can see it. Oh, man, get in there. You just got to be careful you don't cross thread them, because that can be real easy to do. So you just take this, stick that back on there, run this through there, nice and gently now, and then as you turn in it, you'll see you see it come through there. Now, the cool thing about this, with having that piece in there, as you move this back and forth, you'll feel if it's too tight. You feel your needle, so now you'll back off just a little bit, and there it is. So there it goes. And then just put it all back together. Here, let me show you. Take this. I'll pop that back in there. Come on. Let's get this piece back in here now. And that goes in like that. Just make sure you get it in right now. Push it in. Make sure that piece is all the way in there. Take your plunger. Make sure that's in there. And then you take your tool, force it down, and just turn it. Just like that. Make sure that's all the way in there. And then I always take my needle and do this to make sure it's moving up and down. Then it's all about putting it back together. I always put this piece in first, and then I put this on. Well, I can't see, guys, so I don't have my glasses. So give me a second here. Moving up and down, see that? This piece together here. sure that's in there. Come on. There we go. And then turn it all the way. And then I always tighten it once and then I have a little click over. I like to feel that a little tighter. Then I take this. I'll take my needle and I always hold it like so. Hold the trigger down. Pull your needle in. Now see right there, I can feel it being too tight. So now what I got to do is I got to back that off a little bit. So we stick this in there and just, there we go. Take my needle, run that in there, still too tight. I could feel it. One more time. Get the needle in there. Still tight. It's going to be a trial and error, guys. You don't want to over tighten that because then the needle won't move back and forth. See, like now it's getting looser and looser. I want that needle to just flow through there. So little bit, I would recommend you do this with a needle that you know has already been damaged. I've done this so many times that you know I can do it without damaging that needle, although it will happen if you're not careful. I think that's fine. Okay. Now we'll just put that back. See, I like it a little stiff. You know, the when you pull back, you get just a little bit of give on there. I don't want it too free. That's my preference. I'll get that back in here. Just like so. Make sure you don't cross thread those. Make sure that's pulling. Up. I just noticed something. I'm trying to do this quickly and I forgot this. There we go. Get that in here. Just like that. It's tight and then a quarter turn. Like this in here. Bring the needle in. Tighten it down and then that's exactly where I want it. See that? And just put it all back together. Now, I'll have to go back and check this to make sure it's not too tight. But all in all, I think she'll be fine. So there it is, guys. That's how you take apart and you put your airbrush back together. But it also helps that you have the right tools. These tools, like I said, they can be expensive. They're not cheap. You can find them at Chicago Airbrush. I'll leave a link down below. But there it is. Later on, I'll show you guys. Oh, I forgot to put this away, but that's all right. How to take apart your Badger Chrome. So, I hope that helped, guys. It's a nice tool. The airbrush tool set. This ran me about 80 bucks and then, you know, with shipping. But you get your needle wrench. You get 2 packing needle wrenches. You get your pliers, you know, so with the plastic here or the rubber so you don't ruin the nozzles. You get a spare case here for your needles. And then over here, this is a section where you can actually carry your airbrushes in them, your spare airbrushes in them. So there it is, guys. I hope this helps. Be back in a second. So there you have it. Again, you can get this toolkit right here at ChicagoAirbrush.com. Again, it's a little steep. Ran me about $90 with taxes because I had to pay taxes, Illinois taxes here. But I'm sure if you look online, you could probably get it directly from the source for a little bit cheaper. Because let's face it, anytime anything from Japan hits the United States, there's about a 20% markup on it. Sometimes I've seen it all the way up to a 40% markup. Don't know if that's the case with this, but you can't buy them directly from Iwata. You have to get them through, like a secondary seller. But I'm sure if you look online, you could probably get it cheaper. If not, you got Coast Airbrush, or you got right here, Chicago Airbrush. It's a great thing to have, especially saves you money. A lot of times, a lot of your problems a lot of the problems that I encounter are due to when people ask me are due to just simple maintenance. The other thing that I hear a lot of, I got a lot of paint, it's all backed up and blah blah blah. When you clean your airbrush out, when you rinse it here, guys, you got to pull that needle. Pull the needle and give it a good wipe, and then slide it back in there. If you don't do that, you're going to end up with a lot of buildup in here. And then, when you go to clean it, look I got all this gunk here, and the world's greatest airbrush cleaner's cleaning it all out. No. A simple flush, pull the needle, wipe it. Believe me, that solves about a good 80% of your problems. So, I hope this helped. I know it ran a bit long. I just wanted to show you guys how I took apart that airbrush and showed you how easy it was to do it. Also, the toolkit. If there's any questions, you guys can leave a question below, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. And if not, just bear with me, guys. I'll get to them. So, until this weekend when we have our hangout, this is Gilbert. I wish you all peace, safety, prosperity. Be kind to your children. Love your families, brothers and sisters. Leave the drama to, of course, the queens. And build a damn model, guys. It's Red Dragon.